We're going to call this Board of Health meeting to order at 5:02, June 13th, Tuesday. With us this evening, Member Tom Fortin, Member Bob Medeiros, Dave DeVignan, I'm acting as chair, our agent Joe Correa, and we are missing our secretary who's on vacation.
Yes.
Good for her. This meeting is being audio and video taped. If I could ask everybody to silence their cell phones, minimize disruptions. First order of business under correspondence, we have Bristol Mosquito Control. This is simply a notification to the general public that if you want to have any spraying done on or near your property, Bristol County Mosquito Control is beginning that process after Memorial Day, and you are to contact them directly at 508-823-5253. Again, 508-823-5253. Next on our agenda, we have a community nurse home care statistical report from May 2023.
You want to keep that on the agenda, or you want to just...
Do you want to?
I mean, if anything, just they can also call us and we can give them the information. Call the Board of Health office.
Yeah, motion to file.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Motion carries. Very light report for May 2023. One COVID case.
Wow.
One Lyme's. One flu.
Make a motion to file.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Motion carries. We only have one septic plan on the agenda this evening. 21 Bertrand Way. I've reviewed the plan. Basically, it's a revision on a prior plan that was approved by the board, where they just shifted the leaching field to eliminate the retaining wall. There was a pool in the way. Now they're going to remove the pool.
Yeah, I saw. I reviewed it. I saw.
No problem.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the plan as specified.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Discussion, community nurse home care contract. So review of matters presented, votes may be taken.
Yeah, they managed to get it to us.
Okay.
It's exactly the same as last year, for exactly the same amount of money.
No changes? No changes at all?
Other than, they have an escape clause in the event that they need it.
Which was in last year's budget.
Yep, it was a word for word.
It's a
Yep.
COVID escape contract.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the public nurse contract.
Second.
all in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Do we all have to sign that, or just one of those?
I think it's just
Just
one.
you.
Okay. Yeah, one for me to do? Okay. I'll sign that later. Next, we have under discussion, number 2, wood cutting and processing at 181 Mattapoisett Road. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Gentlemen, Mr. Correa has put together a recommended memorandum that we vote to accept. I know it's been distributed to everybody. I had some minor comments on it. I don't know if you guys have looked at it.
I've reviewed it. It looks pretty good.
Have you looked at it, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay. For the record, I'm just going to read it into the record.
Yep.
It's dated June 13, 2023. It's not signed yet or voted on. Addressed to Mr. Harold Perry, 181 Mattapoisett Road, Acushnet, Mass. 02743, regarding wood cutting / processing at 181 Mattapoisett Road. Dear Mr. Perry, on May 16th, 2023, the Board of Health held a hearing for your appeal of the cease and desist order, which was issued on April 11th, 2023. After hearing and taking into account all relevant facts from parties present, the board hereby votes to release the cease and desist order subject to the following conditions. Bullet item 1, no more than 10 cord of wood shall exist on the property of 181 Mattapoisett Road at any time to be processed or stored. Bullet item 2, wood processing activities shall take place on the northern side of lot 181 Mattapoisett Road. Bullet item 3, no wood cutting and splitting operations shall occur from April 1st through October 31st. Bullet item number 4, only wood cutting and splitting operations for personal home heating use at 181 Mattapoisett Road Home shall be allowed from November 1st through March 31st. This also applies to 183 Mattapoisett Road. Bullet item number 5, there shall be no excessive trucking on or off-site of wood. Bullet item 6, no third parties, except for Mr. Perry's son Shane, shall come to the property to obtain wood for his own reasonable personal use. Bullet item 7, the use of chainsaws shall be kept to a minimum and shall be restricted to no more than 3 hours in any one day during the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. from November 1st through March 31st. This also applies to 183 Mattapoisett Road. Next bullet item, all efforts shall be made to minimize chainsaw use on the property by having logs cut to length at an off-site location. Last bullet item, no excessive wood cutting, splitting, or use of heavy machinery is permitted which would cause a nuisance at any time. Ending Acushnet Board of Health with all 3 of us to be signed if accepted. Any discussion on the matter?
No,
There's only one thing I haven't discussed.
Go ahead.
Good.
One at a time.
I'm good right now.
You're good?
About this item here of cutting wood on any days is, now, are they gonna allow them to do it on Saturdays and Sundays too? It's not accepting,
During November 1st and March 31st. So the time of the year where windows are closed, not open, and for no more than 3 hours in any given day. So it's restricted.
what I'm
but-
saying is any given day, so he's gonna be allowed to cut wood on a Sunday too.
But that's reasonable as far as 3 hours, you know what
3
I'm
hours.
saying? That's,
I mean,
it's between that time period, between 9 and 5. I mean, that's, it seems to be a fair,
there's a limited number of quarter wood. The time frame's now shrunk down to winter time.
and it's...
3 hours a day. I mean, I think that's
That's fair. I
fair,
thought that was,
yeah.
I thought that was fair.
I mean, he has trouble doing, he said he needs the weekends to do it, so I think we're being fair.
And he's moved it won't be right on the property line either.
Correct.
So
It's gonna
that
take
makes-
place on the other
that's
end.
gonna make it
On the other side.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's it. I mean, I thought that was...
And he can't haul wood in and out till
Right.
November 1st. He wants to bring in a couple of
So
truckloads.
Jonathan,
Pre-cut.
I'm concerned about it's on a Sunday. Who the hell wants to hear chainsaws buzzing all day Sunday for 3 hours?
This is during the time when your windows are closed,
And you gotta realize...
and it's on the other side of the property.
I mean, that's...
And we gotta allow a little leeway here, not shrink him down to one day.
I thought that was...
Because he works during the week.
I thought that was reasonable. I mean,
No, I'm just bringing it up,
No, it's discussing it. I think like Tommy said, I think it's fair.
yeah.
I think it would be fair, but, I don't know about the neighbor on
I mean,
Sundays.
I've cut wood all my life from my house. And I mean, yeah, that was a Saturday
Yeah,
and
but you
Sunday.
never cut like,
But I did not like that.
Cords
but I
and
mean,
cords and
yeah,
cords.
we'll go a few hours,
Yeah.
and it's not, I was, we were reasonable about it. We'd start at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning
Yep.
and then do it for a couple of
and
hours.
if your neighbor came over and asked you, hey, Tom,
I got
someone's sick
something
at
going on.
home,
Yeah.
or,
Nobody's
any
ever
way
said
we can
anything.
cool it a little bit.
But I never cut on the side of, I didn't do it the way that was done.
We're hoping
I was
this
like
brings
that.
upon-
I mean, my property has plenty of room.
Hopefully that he listens to this
Yes,
here.
Yes. Be good
Just
neighbor.
try to make it reasonable for everybody. I mean, you can't just stop them from cutting wood, but I think this is a very reasonable situation for him.
I have no problem with
I
it.
think it's fair. I think most of it.
I just figured I'd bring it up, that's all.
Is,
You know,
like I said,
I don't want to cut the guy right off completely, but.
it's restricting him to all of the things that were happening, but it's also reasonable for him to be able to continue to cut wood with these restrictions.
Yep.
And I think the
Up
restrictions...
to 10 cord,
apply.
that's a good amount.
Yeah,
It's a lot of wood.
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
Okay. Is there
Make a motion
anything?
to accept that, unless the attorney has something to
I'll
say.
go to the audience first.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Vignon, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Nicholas Gomes. I represent the Souzas at 183 Mattapoisett Road. Good evening, everyone on the board. I thank you very much, Mr. Career, for putting together the memorandum, going over the details of releasing the cease and desist with the 9 conditions. I believe it is a step in the right direction, and I do hope it's going to better provide for neighborly relations between these two neighbors, because this had gone on for too long and obviously became a nuisance and an issue which was ripe for your review. I think it was wise of the board to vote to accept these recommendations. I would just like to state a couple of items. First, I think that the board's weight of putting forward these concerns at the last meeting was somewhat well received by Mr. Perry. He did substantially reduce the level of cutting and wood operations generally, but I think that was naturally because of the time. I think that if we took no action and said nothing on that meeting, he would have continued on. But he was disobedient. We were here on the 16th, and then that Saturday there was a wood delivery from a single truck. So it is a reduction in the level that we've seen in the past. I hope he heeds the essentially warnings that we're giving. He respects this memorandum going forward and no longer causes a nuisance to my client. The concerns I have with the 9 bullet points is, as discussed by Mr. Maderas, it doesn't include Sunday and holidays. I do have concerns on the holiday time and Sundays, but I do believe with the other restrictions in place, in particular number 9, of not becoming a nuisance, there's still protection for my client if there is a need to go forward. I want to put on the record that we will go forward with civil action. If this becomes a further issue, we will come back to the board. My client will continue to document the incidents so that this is kept apprised going forward, and he lives up to his word, essentially. And then lastly, I must, in my role as the attorney, say that I do not think that the board has respectfully say, I don't think the board has the authority to bind my client to any type of action. There's been no complaints lodged against him. There's been no due process of him being on notice that there are complaints against him. But respectfully, we are not objecting. We're going to go at least allow this to go forward and say that the board is doing the right thing here. But we will accept that one provision against the application to my client's actions and property. But as a man, he can say that he's going to continue to be a respectful neighbor no matter what the memorandum says. So lastly, I don't think you can apply this to my client legally, so I do reserve that right. And then let's just go forward and hope that those 9 bullet points do resolve the issue, and that the Sundays and holidays can be respected in a man-to-man type of handshake or person-to-person type handshake, so that there are no issues. And thank every one of you for listening to my client's concerns, reading my correspondence. I know it was lengthy, but I believe it was necessary to show you that this is a substantial issue. And I know individuals who are watching at home, they might be in arms that in the town of Acushnet we are standing up against woodcutting, but I believe the board to hear today, they are making the right decision, because there needs to be reasonableness in everything that's done, and even in a farming community such as Acushnet, it needs to be done reasonably. And I hope Mr. Perry will follow the wise words of this board and do it properly like you're supposed to do. Get your winter heat prepared timely. Do it during those hours when the windows are closed. And just hopefully this doesn't become an issue for Mr. Career or anybody else. So thank you very much.
So
I have a question.
just to make a point that we weren't really going after everybody that cuts wood in the town of Acushnet, so people have to realize that this is one situation that was out of hand, and you know, people cut wood in this town everywhere, and I think most of them, we've never had any other complaints like this. This is the first in the 36 years that I've been here. We've never had a problem. So we're, as a board, I believe that my fellow members, I think that we're not going after everybody that cuts wood, so we have to realize that. People need to know that, you know, if you do it in a reasonable amount, like I do myself, you know, there isn't an issue with anybody else. This was one situation that was way out of hand, and that's why we handled it this way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fortman. So I would say the considerations in your deliberations as a board is whether or not the 9 bullet points are satisfactory as is. Potentially the Sunday and the holidays would be the additional factors. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
One thing.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think you sent me something about music playing. Was that you?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just ridiculous, it really is.
I
So-
know that he sent me something to my cell phone about loud music or something.
It's, so,
I couldn't get it all on my
video
phone.
of her in the chicken coop, videoing chickens, because we got Sousa seedlings, and all you hear is the radio. It's like, I cannot sit on my deck. If he gets mad at me, or he's upset that day, the music goes so loud, I can't enjoy it. And I want to call the cops every time, and then I'm saying, wait a second, do I just want to keep bringing the Acushnet Police Department out there? I actually sent the video also to Joe by email. And it's something that is not right. And I went right to Joe the day that Harry got his letter. Music all day long, full blast. Am I right, Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't, unless the decibel level is completely and utterly
Out of control.
out of control, I don't think there's anything we can do. I will say this. I live in a tight community, neighborhood, and I have a neighbor that plays awful music, to say the least.
Awful music.
I mean, awful music.
Not good music like we play at the Peach Festival.
Correct. It's not like the Peach Festival. So, you know, I've called the police and asked them to go there and just ask them to be a little courteous and kind of tone it down a little bit. And it's worked. And so when he plays it, I have to live with it until it gets literally to 10 o'clock if I'm having a campfire. Well, and I just play music coming in my direction from my back so that I don't have to hear his.
So
You kind of have to, you know, we're in a...
So
We're
should
not-
I go
we're
get
not in
a
Rochester,
stereo that's a
we're-
little
so
bit
my-
louder than his? Is that, should I?
Well, listen,
I'm not
do?
saying that's, I'm just saying that we can't, I don't think
I can respond.
a radio is gonna rise to the level of a news, you know, a noise
So-
issue.
So, I played music all my life, so, and we rehearse in my basement, and sometimes it gets loud, and it used to get real loud. And my neighbor would, you know, we were good about it, we wouldn't play till 10 o'clock, it was, you know, usually 9 o'clock, and we'd do a rehearsal, and you can hear it, but it's in the basement, that's outside. So my suggestion would be is that I would just rent a PA, you know, a big one, and just blast it with the music that you love, and you won't hear his music.
All right.
There you go.
I mean, unfortunately,
That ain't the way to go, though.
it isn't the way,
It
right,
ain't the way I
it's
would
just
do
the
it.
way, I mean,
because we all know that
I
you
was
can...
trying to make it.
Yeah, I know what
Like,
you're
he's
saying.
lighting
Lighten it up.
One bad movie
When
could
we-
make another bad
when
movie.
We're at a point where we're resolving this, you
Yeah,
know,
I want to resolve this.
wood cutting thing, and that's what we're at. We're not really here to discuss.
The only positive is it's actually good music that he's playing, but we shouldn't have to hear it the next year.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a huge positive.
And that is
Well, I can attest to
Usually, it
Yeah.
used to be, we could hear it as background music. And hey, you know something, you're part of your garden, you don't care, you hear it in the background.
Yeah.
But now it's like we hear it on our deck like it's in our yard.
And he puts the Midnight Rider on repeat. We'll hear that song for
There
3
There
hours.
was definitely one that was incredibly loud.
Yeah, and it's,
That's,
I've got a job before
that's
you
where
got
the
the
police
letter.
can go over there and talk to them. I mean, really. I mean, the police can act on something like that.
I've got an old jukebox that I received from a customer, and I play it in my garage when I'm outside. My neighbor says, "Hey, Bob, you got some nice records here, why don't you turn it up a little louder? We're over here trying to listen to it, we can't." But, you know, then my wife comes out and says, "Put that thing down." I think the neighbors want it louder. Put it down. So, you know, what do I gotta listen to
the
my wife.
birds.
Well, I'm in big trouble.
And all of a sudden-
It is-
We
Well,
listen
you
to
know
Hand
that.
Dora on the phone, real low, we put it in the, wherever we're working, and that's how we like it. And like I said, sometimes we shut it off because his music ain't that bad. But when it, after a while, when it feels like the DJ is on our deck, and it's 180 feet away, there's something wrong with that.
Well, let's take one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with this, and then
Yeah.
I think
Let's-
that's a whole other
Yeah.
issue.
Iron out this wood thing, and then maybe
Hopefully-
later on, we can jump into that thing.
Hopefully, he'll be a good neighbor. Well, he's gonna have to follow the rules, so.
I'm gonna, two things. I agree with you, Attorney Gomes, that we can't, I don't think legally we can hold 183 Mattapoisett Road, because they're not the object of the, the complaint.
There was no complaints. on that.
But I will say this, I think it's just in the letter, Joe put it in, it's just fair play. I think it's the point of the matter is, whether it was accurate or not, Mr. Perry made complaints towards your client that, that he so we just, I don't wanna see him, I don't wanna hear a complaint from him that your clients were out there cutting wood for 5 straight hours on a Saturday, I don't wanna hear the reverse, so I think.
And you ain't gonna, I'm gonna tell you, the truth, you ain't gonna.
I trust that hopefully this will bury it. I started thinking about what Bob said, and I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the letter and to put in after it says November 1st through March 31st, except holidays, we handwrite it in there as a caveat, because I started thinking about it, November 1st, first holiday's Thanksgiving, and chainsaws going outside of Thanksgiving when everybody has people over their house, it's just, I started thinking about that,
That's why I brought it
And then you
up.
get Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Maybe New Year's, maybe you don't mind, but maybe you got a hangover, you don't wanna hear it either.
Jeez.
I mean, I don't know, so, I
Well, like
mean,
we're drinking, so I don't worry
I
about
look
that.
at, a lot of holidays are, there are a bunch of them are on Mondays, when people actually get yard work done and stuff, and,
Right.
but I started thinking about the immediate holidays right after that time frame starts up, and I think maybe we ought to put in there, except
I mean, we can
holidays.
put whatever we feel that
Yes.
is good for the
No,
general
we're talking
public.
about a memo that was drafted, and we can hand put it in there, or you can put it in with the computer and we can sign it, and tomorrow, or whatever.
Yeah, your call.
I'll make a motion that we add the holidays in.
Okay, so I'll accept the motion to
Second.
accept this memo with a revision that Joe will make to where it says November 1st through 31st shall be allowed from November, except holidays.
There was a second on that motion?
Did certainly.
That's a
did.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep.
Vote carries 3-0.
I just figured I'd bring it up, maybe one of you
No,
guys
it's a good point, Joe.
break it down, so.
It's a good point, Bob.
So we'll redate the memo to tomorrow, and add, accept holidays, and then Joe will get everybody's signature, and then we'll issue it.
Sounds like a
Both
plan.
regular mail and certified
One
mail.
more thing. Now, there was another address there that was put onto that there. Does that include him too not cutting, or?
No, the order is, well, the
I gotta
idea.
get this straightened out now.
Well,
while we have
I
this gentleman here.
think they understand that they're not gonna reciprocate the same way. They're not gonna be cutting wood on a holiday.
I'm not gonna cut on a holiday, I'm not.
So I think
I've
you're
been
doing
doing
it
it for 30 some odd years and no one's ever complained.
I'm just gonna make a motion to keep that issue on file, okay?
Is there a second?
Yep,
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
should be on file.
Motion carries. All right, that's it. We're gonna move
Thank you.
on.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yep, take care.
Yeah, maybe it is.
So can I erase that thing off my phone now,
Yeah.
about the
I'll still
music?
call you and say hi though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
So we have minutes to approve from May 16, 2023.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next scheduled meeting,
You don't have them with you, do you?
It does, okay.
You want to sign them now?
We may as well sign them while we're open in open session. Next scheduled meeting, I don't know. I gotta check the schedule.
Yeah, let's just keep it open for now.
It's gonna be at least second week of July at the
Because my
earliest.
clam boil is ready at 5:30. Look at you.
We just had a huge plan boil at the beginning.
How come I didn't get one?
Should have went.
How come I didn't?
$40.
How much?
40.
No,
Oh, you can eat. Showers, the whole nine yards. Next one. Cell phone,
Anything else to sign?
Oh,
The contract.
We have the nurse.
You sign that.
Can we have your contract too, Joe?
I will get to that in a second.
Why don't you put, that goes into the executive session.
I put,
Joe.
Yeah.
did it backwards, but it's good. I dated, put the date and then my name. Good. Vouchers. Is there a motion to sign the vouchers?
The motion to sign vouchers.
Second? All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. So the last item on our list is,
The plan.
oh, let's do the plan.
We in the room corner there. There, shoots. Well, I hope, going back to that man up there, Mr. Perry, that he'll work along with his neighbor to keep things down.
Well, we'll
I
see.
have confidence that
Did I get that
you will.
right?
I really do. I think you will.
We'll have a church.
They already changed what he's doing.
That's it. Oh, I know.
That's all the information Joe needs. So we have scheduled executive session, and we will not be reconvening. And the purpose executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Supervisory United Steelworkers. So I need a roll call vote for us to go in executive session, with that being the reason, and not to reconvene. Is there a motion?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second,
Second, roll call vote, Mr. Fortin,
Aye.
Mr. Maderas,
Robert Maderas,
and I'm an
yes.
aye. Votes 3-0, we are now in executive session. Good night.